Psychedelics are a taboo subject. It's a common theme that people do psychedelics and don't integrate the themes that they learned during their trip.
People who've used psychedelics are accused by their friends and neighbors of becoming nicer.
Oh no! Who wants to be nicer?
Psychedelics shift your basic awareness of what perception even is. There are a number of ways in which we shift our perception: meditation, fasting. Psychedelics is different than the others, and the difference in the way it affects you is the difference between walking up a mountain or being catapulted to the top almost instantly.
You can definitely walk up the mountain yourself through practices like meditation or yoga, but being thrust up there gives you a perspective. Psychedelics are not a crutch. I believe they show you the end goal so you can take the journey yourself.
You have enhanced capacity for understanding a level of complexity of life that you didn't know you had. It's a realistic question to say, what's the value of having expanded vision, expanded hearing, expanded awareness in general? But it's the same question as, why should we go to school? Why should we learn to read? Why should we visit other countries? Because to transcend those limits shifts forever the way in which you see the world.
Do you want to expand and grow, or do you want to stay in the same place forever? Perception is reality, so why not understand perception and better grasp reality?
I'm James Fadiman. I've been involved in psychedelic research and experience for over 60 years.
Hello, James. Nice to meet you.
One of the great spiritual traditions has people asking, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And the answer, whatever your answer is limited.
Limited like labels. Labels are important for us to be able to discern things in language, but at the same time, nobody wants to be labeled. Nobody wants to be put into a box. Everybody likes labels, but nobody sees that there's value in breaking free from labels.
Transpersonal psychology is a framework which allows you to get a larger view. It's simply a larger toolkit than conventional psychology for looking at the central thing that makes humans humans, which is consciousness.
Zooming out and having a wider perspective is so important in so many areas of life. I believe that having a wider perspective is one of the best things I've learned in life.
It includes all of awareness, all of consciousness, all human experience. And it looks around for what are the tools. Meditation is a tool. Psychedelics are a different kind of tool for opening up the closed box of awareness. It's the natural evolution of consciousness to expand. There comes a point for many of us as adults where what we don't know feels dangerous, and therefore we stop looking.
The tool of meditation and yoga is slowly opening that box bit by bit, maybe even using a letter cutter. Psychedelics, you're just ripping that box open. Beliefs are just stories, the stories that we tell ourselves. So, are you ready to tell yourself a new story?
Psychedelics break that pattern. They break open whatever your system of belief is. Now, opening up consciousness means that everything is both magnified and clarified. Think about it. Psychedelics go to every cell of the body. So when one reports that they can smell color or hear color, what they're saying is the parts of the brain that normally are somewhat separated can communicate with each other if we simply take down the little guardrails so that people report enhanced creativity because they can think of more things simultaneously and farther away from their original thought. What they also are aware of is their own relationships with other people, particularly when they're being used therapeutically. The negative patterns, the things that prevent you being close to other people, become painfully visible because the central experience that we all strive for is to be unified and connected to a larger reality than ourselves.
Breaking down the borders of the brain, breaking down the borders of the earth to realize that we're all living together in this floating rock in space. Can't we just act like it? We're part of the ecosystem, not the ego system.
Let's be clear that, like any tool, it can be misused. Psychedelics not used carefully are dangerous. Cars not used carefully are dangerous. Most things not used carefully, can be dangerous.
Too much of a good thing can definitely be a bad thing.
The problem for psychedelics is because the expansion is so strong, if you have no support or no background or no understanding, it's terrifying. After a psychedelic experience, you are not only more open, but you are questioning very fundamental beliefs that you have had without any particular knowledge.
It's great for everybody to play devil's advocate on the beliefs that they grasp onto so firmly. You also have to be willing and open to challenge your worldviews. Healing from trauma is not easy, but the best things in life are not easy.
Integration is a method of dealing with the overflow of information that happens during and after a psychedelic experience. That time is a very fluid time where the brain is still communicating more than usual. And it's a good time where someone can help you put together these very unusual experiences so that you can retain the insights. We have a similar thing if you think about it. If you're a refugee and you're coming from one country to another, people help you integrate into the new culture. Integration in psychedelics is simply a version of that more general kind of universal way of helping people move from confusion to clarity.
Psychedelics are interesting, especially in challenging your perceptions, but they're nothing without integration. You can get all the lessons in the world, but if you don't sit down and think about and use those lessons in your life in a practical way, they're worth nothing. So you can find clarity within yourself, you can seek others to find clarity, but the most important part of the whole journey is integration.
There's a tendency to think of psychedelics as a personal experience. But what we've found is that people who have used psychedelics are better members of their community. They have loosened up the restrictions that keep us apart from each other. Because one of the fundamentals that we all have is a sense of identity, kind of who lives in this box. With psychedelics, what you realize is that in some sense, you also are outside this box.
It's very fitting that they showed African people hugging because they have this term called Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. There's a story that a kids are in the forest and a white guy comes along and puts a basket of fruit in the forest and says, "Hey kids, whoever gets to the basket of fruit first gets the fruit." And they all hold hands and run to the fruit together, and when they find it, they share it. It's because no person is greater than the community. No one individual is greater than the whole. I am because we are. I am this being because of the ecosystem, because of everything around me that facilitates me being the person that I am. Beautiful. So, breaking the box of the individual to realize that we're part of the collective, the community aspect of life, is the most important lesson. What we lack right now as societies is community. And if we can build local community, the world would be such a better place.
So we are much more like trees than perhaps we want to imagine, which is trees keep growing in every direction unless they're impeded, but the natural is a full expanding in each direction. That's perhaps the goal of transpersonal psychology, and it is the experience of psychedelics. The experience of psychedelics is that things will never be the same afterwards because my universe has actually opened wider.
Unbounded, limitless potential seems like a good thing for everybody or nobody. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.